Hi everyone, I'm Steve here again with Dr. Nario. As you know, Dr. Nario is in Reno, Nevada at Biointegrative Health Center. You can check them out online and see all the very cool treatments, IVs, and things like that they do. Thanks for being with us, Doctor.
Hi, Steve. Thank you for having me again. Always a pleasure.
All right, so we're going to talk about one of my favorite treatments, one that I do all the time. At least me, I do it at least once a month, and that is Plaque X, which I know is a liver cleanse, and it also cleans the arteries, right?
Right. That's correct.
Okay, so this is an IV. How does it work? I mean, what is it and how does it work?
Well, Steve, I always like to start with a story for Plaque X so that people or patients can understand it better. So most of the time, I always go for that San Francisco toll gate traffic. So when you would see a clog up in one area, of course, when toll gates are closed, and people are angry, sneaking through the lines, cussing and screaming, honking. Reason why? Because it's closed, and now they only have one area to go through to get into San Francisco. And that's the thing. We want to open these toll gates when we want nutrients and electrolytes and vitamins to get into the cell. And this is what Plaque X does. It actually regenerates the cell membranes or the walls of our cells that gets damaged every day. And these cell membranes in our the walls of our cells are actually embedded with proteins, receptors, channels that makes everything pass through. The toxins go out, and the nutrients go in. And when you do Plaque X or phosphatidylcholine as part of its ingredient, it actually tries to regenerate these channels. And majority of our cells are 90% outside our phosphatidylcholine components. And that's not only one layer, but it's two layers combined, which is a bilipid layer, as we call it. So that's why how hard we need to work on this. And every day we just run through it so fast because of oxidative stress, for example, and everything that we eat that's not good, it destroys it. And again, as we improve that, of course, functions gets better. Heart, brains, lungs, liver, because every organ is composed of a cell. And from that point, you can definitely say it's revitalizing organs, can be anti-aging. And when I mentioned about how special Plaque X is, it's composed of actually a special phosphatidylcholine, and this is what we call DLPC. I don't want you guys to remember this, but it's dilynylyl phosphatidylcholine. That's why now you know why I just call it DLPC, and that's what makes it different for other phosphatidylcholine IVs or even oral remedies because it's actually one number one that is actually has been studied, and number two, it actually has been proven to have these health benefits compared to other types of phosphatidylcholines.
Okay, so you kind of talked about what it is, and you said that it works on the cell, right? It kind of improves the cell to allow for detoxing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, can you talk a little more about the benefits of this for it cleans your arteries, right?
Right. It
And
actually, yeah, that's good. That's a good point you brought up there.
and does one affect the other? Like when you're cleaning your arteries, does that help cleanse the liver, or are these is this kind of a combination of working together with those two benefits?
Oh well, Steve, when you talk about again the cell, every organ, may it be a vein, may it be a liver, are composed of cells, and they are all having all of these channels around them, meaning the lipid bilayer. Our cells are enclosed in that membrane. So when you use such remedies like Plaque X, this regenerates all of that membrane. And so now when you talk about it's so basically every organ that has a cell will improve from it. But the studies had been focused more on cardiovascular conditions. And that's why people or patients with elevated bad cholesterol, triglycerides, low good cholesterols, even patients with angina or chest pains that are on and off, circulation issues, maybe arterial or vein, even carotids that are clogged, they actually become less in terms of the numbers go down, the inflammation goes down in those carotids, and I've even heard the word sometimes the natural Drano or declogger. And when you mentioned about liver a while ago, it's also one of the remedies that actually has been studied to help with fatty liver. And same, the brain is composed of fatty material, tissue. It also helps with brain function. So other stuff like heartburn, psoriasis, even liver, kidney. I like it to use also in kidney regeneration, and in general, a good antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and but because going back to the same basic concept, it heals all cell membranes that actually composes of everything in our system.
Okay, so last thing, can you give me an example of, say, a protocol, or a couple examples of different protocols you might use? Um, so maybe somebody has heart disease or the beginning of it, and I've heard some amazing stories, people sitting right next to me in the clinic about what this treatment has done for them.
Right.
Amazing stories. So, and like someone like me, I'm not really treating anything. I'm just trying to be healthy and preventative. So I do it at least once a month, every 3 weeks or so. What would a protocol be if you're actually treating something with this IV? Can you give me an idea there?
Right. Well, Steve, a minimum amount of treatments, specifically, let's talk about vascular disease. So these are the common patients that we see here. We recommend 20 treatments. And then, of course, we definitely reassess them after such. Other indications usually require less treatments, like, well, as I said, anti-aging, right? Inflammation. Maintenance therapy, in order for patients to be stabilized or considered stabilized, they receive the infusion 1 to 2 months every month. And also, when you get into that maintenance phase or being classified as such, you also now take the oral form so that you can be supported every day. And time frames are different for everything. But let me just give you what the studies had dictated. For like, and some of them are studied on animals also. But for example, like the ones with calcified aortas found on scans. After 2 months of treatment, they actually see, I guess, improvements on these specific findings. For people who, for example, has high cholesterol, and even combining it with anginal attacks or chest pains, it actually brought them to a point that they needed to lower down their medications, and that was a six week treatment protocol. Another one is when you have high triglycerides. IV therapy produced a 3 months results on this, and even for the people who are are just getting it just for maintenance, walking distance for these people actually had increased. If when they started, it was really hard for them to do it. But also, this study was including a 6 week usage of the oral phosphatidylcholine. And again, when I say the oral as a maintenance, this is also one that's been proven that it has a 90% bioavailability, meaning absorption, so that you're not going to be really wasting a lot when you're doing the oral PPC. So that's why all these
Wow.
examples are cardiovascular and medically based studies that actually you can base your protocols on. And us also, as we do it here.
Wow. Yeah. When you said 20, is that 20 Plaque X treatments in that protocol you're talking about, or is that a combination of multiple different types of treatments?
This again, this is based on studies of just plain Plaque X.
Okay. That's just what they did. They did 20 treatments of this.
Hmm. That's right.
Wow. Okay. Well, if you guys want more information, you can go to the website Biointegrative Health Center. So thank you so much for being with us, doctor, and appreciate your insight.
Well, thank you, Steve, again for having me. As we all know, knowledge is power, and thank you for letting me provide you with edge of longevity and health maintenance, which I call the biological edge or the bio edge.